no deal. I'm Jaws on the beat, I got flow that kills. Do my thing with a few G's, Lauren Hill.
What's up guys, it's Unders, and in today's video we're going to look at vocal compression, specifically on your vocal bus. This means you've taken all the different parts of your vocal, so your ad-libs, your harmonies and your main vocal, sent them all to one bus, and then there we're looking to compress them and kind of glue them and squish them together so they sit better in a mix but they feel nice and natural. And then when you've got that mix all ready to roll and your track is finally finished to be released, today's channel sponsor can help you out with that next step.
And a big thanks to the channel sponsor, Distrokid. Distrokid is a music distribution service and the best way to get your music out to all of the modern streaming services fast, efficiently, and within an independent artist's budget. Check out the description below for a discount.
Distrokid is the distributor I personally use for all of my projects as Unders, Warrior Sound Beats, and even some of the artists I've worked with and helped them out with their releases. But without any further ado, let's dive into this mixing technique. So let's get into Logic and get started.
Alright, so here we are in Logic, and this is the project we're going to use. And what I'm going to do is use the MU compressor here on the vocal just to squish it. And the reason we're going to use this type of compression is very simply, it can be very transparent, but you can push it quite far. And this particular compressor does a really great job. It has kind of that analog emulation feel, giving a bit of extra character added, as well as just being a very useful way of doing it. So the part of the track we're going to work on is this, and if you want to work on this track or have this entire project, you can download that in the description below as well. And what we're going to seek is just a little bit of control over the vocal bus in this particular section. So we can solo that out here with the bus just here. Now you can really hear all the crazy elements we've got going on to make that. And I just want to squish it all together and bring it up so everything sits a little bit nicer in the mix. Now there is a little bit of a compressor going in, but we're going to use the MU compressor just to really squish it up. So let's load it up. Super simple. We're going to grab this and we're going to go to MU because it's one of the last ones we loaded. So let's just break down the GUI really quick. Right at the top here, we've got an input and output for the meters. This black section here, we can just have a look at, is basically the same on the left and right. So we've got threshold, attack, output, and our release time with our compression limit option. In the middle is dual input, so that's how much of the signal it is pushing into the compressor. So if you're unable to, say, touch your threshold, for example, you're going to want to use that dual input. And then we've got output, which just gauges back either how much compression we want there to be, whether we actually just want to go louder in level or quieter in level with compression. We can adjust it as such. What we need to take into account, if when we click on the dual input here, we can see we're like plus 23 dB, and our output we're minus 17.6. Then with compression, we're absolutely slamming, so we need to dial this in. That's the default, that's fine. We just need to really dial it in because we don't have like a ratio or anything to work with here. We're working with this input output threshold scenario. Across the middle section here, we've got the link controls, and this is useful if you want to have left or right work independently. So now if I move threshold, look, the other side doesn't move. If I now link them back together, they move in relation to one another again, but look, they're not in sync, so switch those off. Go up here, look, I can do an exact number, so I could go 6 on this one. I could just tap the threshold over here, so that's on 7, go 6, now they're back in exactly the same place now, and when they're linked together, they'll now move together again. Middle switch, left and right or mid side, we can see they're labeled either side here, L and M, R and S. So left and right or mid and side. When we switch to mid and side, it will take link off automatically for us as well, because we're going to be doing those independently. And then we've got a link side chain. So that's this bottom section here. And the side chain very simply is it's built in. So we've got internal or external, meaning we could maybe not compress the low end. That would trigger the compressor a little bit earlier if we're doing something like a drum bus, if we needed to do such a thing. So let's just have a look how we might dial this in on the vocal. So obviously at the minute, far too much. The way I would like to do it, I tend to go just to, like, say, -3 or something on the output instead, and then take the dual input right down. I need to know who are we? getting roughly what I'm after, and then you can kind of fine tune that by using the threshold. If I bring the threshold down to min, look, it's going a lot harder. But notice it's really only changed by a couple of decibels, so the threshold's kind of like your fine tune there. So bring it roughly back around here. I think sort of 1.5, 2 dB max is going to be about right for this.
Tell me, I need to know.
And as well, I think I'd slow the attack off a little bit. It's quite a slow vocal at the minute. It's grabbing it the second it comes in, so I'll probably dial this back a touch as well.
Tell me, I need to know.
Now the vocals don't suddenly drop off, they kind of sustain a lot, so a fast release is going to be okay. If the vocal was dipping a lot in level and then coming back in with something quieter, that's when I'd use a slower release, so it's going to still keep that in and kind of pump and lift the vocal all back up. But then the notes hold alright already and they release, so fast release when the vocal goes away, that's going to be fine for us there. In terms of the overall mix, I think we'll just keep that as fully compressed. And let's just try it in context, shall we?
Tell me, I need to know.
So without it in, we were peaking sort of like minus 14-ish, right? We need to get to that kind of ballpark with the compressor on as well, because at the minute it's going to be coming in a little bit too hot.
Tell me,
So we'll take our output back down now.
I need to
Make sure we're still linked.
know. Tell me, tell me, tell me.
Too much. There you go, right around the same kind of ballpark there. So we'll have this off. So we just have this first section here. Compressor off, I'll put the compressor on, switch it off again so we can hear what it's like without it, and then I'll put it in context, and hopefully that's going to give us a little bit of an improvement.
Tell me, I need to know. Tell me, I need to know. Tell me, I need to know.
So hopefully guys there you can hear that when the compressor's in it's a lot warmer. It might be a little bit more squished, but it's done really nicely in a calm way, and it just helps the vocal sit a little bit more in there, bringing the warmth up, bringing the harmonies and everything up, and just literally, I hate to say it, but gluing everything together, doing exactly what it should do. That, guys, is really simply just how I dial in with this compressor on something like a vocal bus, and why I would do it on that vocal. I hope that's been helpful for all you, and like I say, if you want to work from this project yourself, you can download that in the description below. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Thank you very much for watching.